here with Solitude Springs Farm and Vineyard, and we're going to stroll through the vineyard real quick this evening. It is July 20th. Been working all day outside. It's great. Anyway, let's get on with this. The first one here is front neck. It budded out late. Always does. Anyway, here's Baltica. And this was the previous Baltica, and it never appeared this year. So obviously that one's dead from not shutting down in time. So that's what happens to them if they don't shut down in time. And Baltica is pretty, it has struggles up here. Anyway, this second one is settling in. We're hoping to do our occultation treatment on it. We've done it 2 nights so far, watching the base of it to see if it's going to start shutting down. We've got to find some way to do that. The other thing that I said before is an issue for them is the wet soils. We watered these things through about the 4th or 5th of July, and then we stopped for most of them, the big ones that you see out here. And by big, I mean like this size here. Not particularly big, but some of the other ones are a lot bigger than that. And so they're still growing, even though the soil's drying out. You can see that's, we just had rain last night, and the soil looks pretty dry. So these are 9748. So these are Elmer Swenson varieties. They have shown the potential before the voles got to the berries of reaching 10 bricks by the 5th of September. So there's a possibility there. This is C16, and nothing much to report on that one. It just kind of stopped at that height right there. It's been like that tall for, I don't know, weeks. This is Arthur, and the reason it's not taller, it's only about 4 feet tall, 1.25 meters, is because something chewed the top off of it. So it's had to push a new sprout. So it's going now, and so I'm going to have to put another stake or another stake out here to tie it to that one. And then this is Marquette. It was the first. This is the first year for it, though. I just put it in the ground this year. This is 5416, another 5416. Yeah, Elmer Swenson's. This is Emerald One. Okay, so we lost some other vine, but we had some cuttings of this other propagated. So we've got this one in now. That one should be starting to redden up its leaves pretty soon. This is Severny, another Severny here. They're struggling a little bit. That's first years, though, first year. This is a 3rd year, and Arthur has been in 3 years as well. So the ones that have been in 3 years have been Frontenac, Arthur, and this one here, which is Alpha. And it's a little bit late to bud out this year. I have some ideas on why, and we'll check those next year, and I'll get to that when I go to talk about top more. This is Mature Nets. Believe it or not, it is, although it looks small, it's 3 times the size of it has been on the terraces. So I just pulled it out of where it was at and put more water on it, and it's doing pretty good. It takes a while for that one to get established. It's a Russian cross between Vitis vinifera and amarensis. This is Keewatin. We were hoping it would be a bit more vigorous than this, but it's another first year. So most of these actually are first year plants, because I pulled out some that were in here and I put in ones that I thought would do better. This is Elmer Swenson's 8224, and it's getting settled in. This is Montana 160. So this is the one that split out the trunk over winter, and so it's trying to restart, I think. It's trying to go, but it's not as vigorous as it had been in the past. This is Montana 39. This is the one that's Valiant's male parent. This is Solter. It tries really hard every year. Funny, I've got one out in the pot that does a whole lot better, so I'll probably replace those or swap them out. This would be Valiant. Yeah, it took forever to bud out, so one of these years maybe it'll get bigger. And this is HP1. This is one of Annie Hansen's selections from North Dakota. This is a first year out for this one. Yeah, Valiant's been 3. That's another 3-year-old. This is first year for this one. This is a third year. This is HB2. It actually is taking off this year. I think that's third year. Second year. Maybe I put it out last year. But that one's going well. This is, poor thing, the rabbits and the hares really love this one. This is Petite Pearl, Tom Plocker's variety. It's been chewed back completely twice, so I finally put a cage around it. This is Pilgrim Grape, and it's going pretty well. This is Sabravois, which surprised me a little bit. This is first year. So look at the size of this one compared to the others that we've seen that are first year. This one is already like, I don't know, 18 inches tall, half a meter. And it's just the first year. As is this one, which is even slightly taller. This is Tom Plocker's Crimson Pearl, and doing pretty well. So it's nice to see the growth. This is Riparian 64 from Manitoba, and that got chewed back by the hares twice. This is Riparian 37 from Manitoba, and yeah, it is what it is. Not very big. Those are both the 64 and 37 are 3 years old. This is Louis Swenson, also 3 years old, and it just doesn't like it. Smaller and smaller every year. I thought I'd get bigger out here. Smaller and smaller. Okay. Another one chewed back completely. That's Lucy Coleman. Another one chewed back completely. They just come out to New York 30454, but it doesn't like it too much up here. That was a seedling from Davis. It's now dead. I wish it wasn't, but it is. These two are 10, 18, 30 Elmer Swenson varieties, and this one we've been hoping would grow. It's quite hardy. It's actually one of the hardiest vines for having grandparents of Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay. Makes a pretty decent wine too. So anyway, that's about, well, let's see. Last year, with our quote-unquote wet summer, we had about 3 inches of growth on it. So this year, of course, we were pouring water on them all, 6 gallons a week at least. And so now it's, I don't know, 6 times taller than it was last year. But that's just the difference. I mean, the soils up here are very dry. And even if we get a quote-unquote wet summer, we're still going to see the soils dry out very quickly, especially here on the farm. Other places around the area not, but this place, they dry out pretty quickly. This is L50S. It is a selection by, I can't remember his name. All right, here is RA66-5. This is the one we took the pollen off of to pollinate Rondo, and I'll post about that at some point as soon as I figure out how many of the berries actually set, because it's not looking too promising, but that's okay, because it was my first attempt, and I tried to store some pollen from RA66-5 for a couple of weeks until Rondo was ready, because Rondo's later. This one bloomed in the last week of June, which would be great if a female did it, but this is a male, so it just drops all the flowers. And you can see the bottom of it is quite light there. Actually, the very bottom of it's almost white. In fact, that very first internode is white. That's the first thing they do before, on these riparias, the first thing they do before they start turning brown at the base. So this one's already starting to harden off, and that's pretty typical for this one. It does start early, which is a good thing. And it is hardy. It's from, I think this is from Montana, far eastern Montana, along the Missouri River. So they're hardy. Let's see. This one is Elmer Swenson's 514. And this thing tries, St. Pepin. It tries every year. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, yeah, 3 years old. RA66-5 is 1 year old. Okay, so here is ES80, also 1 year old, Elmer Swenson's. Here's Prairie Star. Some of you are familiar with that one. This is 3 years old. It looked a little bit happier this year with more water, but you can see it's still pretty small. Dead. I think it's dead. It may be coming out. So there's something green down there. I put 2 more prairie stars in there, but they didn't work. All right, so this is Topmore. And I think I hope I pinched that off. Okay, so what happened with this one, I mean, this should be like 4 times taller than this. But they always say when you're pruning your vines, don't worry about them bleeding because it doesn't hurt the vine any. This one bled for 6 weeks. 6 weeks before it stopped. And then it finally budded out about 4 weeks ago. And it took forever. So I have to do something because obviously the bleeding did hurt this one. The roots pushed so much sap out that there was nothing left for them to push the vine with. And so I don't know if it means I need to prune this one later, or if there's some way that I can either literally fry the end of the cane that I cut with, like, you know, with fire or something, or like a lighter or something like that, to stop it from bleeding so much. But literally this one bled for 6 solid weeks. It just wouldn't stop. And I thought, that's not good. No, it wasn't. I think Alpha had the same thing happen, and that's why it budded out late. But yeah, so it's just something we're going to need to play with. Apparently, you know, maybe when we prune, our springs come on too slow. We don't think so. It seems like they take forever to actually start, but maybe it just takes too long and this thing pushes too early, except that it's not quite warm enough to actually push leaves. You know, the buds are still dormant, but the roots think it's warm enough. So anyway, every vine's different. Okay, so here is one that's interesting too. This is actually, I think, tall. This is taller than Crimson Pearl. This is first year, and this is Elmer Swenson's 5817. It doesn't actually surprise me that it is going this well. Although the leaves are still cupped. The cupping of the leaves, to me, that suggests that they're still water stressed a bit, and they're not. The roots haven't quite established, but I mean, they're getting better. This one is a cross between Minnesota 78, which is a wild selection from, I think, along Mississippi. Wild selection from one of the rivers there. And it's full ripe area, crossed with Seagrape, which is a very early ripening vinifera grape, which I've tried here on the farm, and it doesn't shut down in the fall. It grows well. It grows quite vigorously, but it doesn't shut down, so it completely dies to the ground. This one, having a little bit of riparian in there, I've seen in the past where it has hardened off a node in the field, so it can do it. And the nice thing about this is with Seagrape's early ripening, this one also ripens very early. So it's a female though. So it will have to be pollinated by something that blooms at the same time. So we'll see. But anyway, that one's growing quite well. That's already over, oh gosh, that's at least 2 feet tall. It's almost 2/3 of a meter tall. And continues to grow pretty well. All right, so this one here, N11.5, finally came out, Elmer Swenson's variety. It's got a teeny tiny leaf coming out at the bottom. And it doesn't look like it liked being exposed to the sun. So maybe it died. I've got another one of those that I propagated. So, okay, this is M127, or what we've been told is M127. Very small, just emerged a couple of weeks ago. So we're watering that one, trying to get it good size. This one is Ivan, chance seedling, and found in Oregon, and it just doesn't like it up here. Okay, dead, and I think that was 42360, but yeah, didn't have any promise really. Okay, so this is one of our amaranthus vines, and this one, oh, I forgot to bring out the diagram. I'll try and make it with my hands. This one has, as you can see, the leaves are very deeply lobed. And the mature leaves are just like this. I mean, they're actually not like this so much. They actually are this round shape with these deep incisions inside of them. And it looks like a hand. Sorry about the blister. A hand with the outsides curved. It looks like the horseshoe. And there's a center, just like this. There's a center piece that sticks out. But these come all the way down around the front of it. It just looks so weird. And I looked it up, and there are 2 leaf forms on Amaranthus, and this is one of them. Pretty common. But once we get this into full size, the leaves are just gorgeous. The shape of them is just gorgeous. Very interesting. So anyway, it's kind of struggling, but I think it'll snap out of it next year. All right, next one is Alpenglow, and we're replacing this one because it died, but it has some promise here, at least for a vine, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, this is Amar 6, another one of our Amaranthus, pure Amaranthus, and it's going pretty well this year. Again, leaves are cupped, tells me that it's a bit stressed. I mean, we can pour water on these things, and the ground just soaks it all up. Sideways. This is Amar 5. It was a little bit late to come out, but it's growing quite vigorously now. It's been vigorous for us, and the cool thing about this one is in the spring, the buds, when they open up, when the leaf bundles first open up, I'm looking at all the ants that are thriving underneath this weed block. But the weed block keeps the weeds away. This one in the spring, when those buds start to enlarge and the leaf bundles come out, so the leaves haven't exposed themselves yet, they're purple. They're this deep purple color. It's really pretty, like little purple lights along the canes. Pretty cool. And here is Amar 4, which I took a picture of the other day. Already starting to shut down. You can see, particularly on Amaranthus, how there's a lot. They have a certain texture to them anyway. There's very high relief, and that's how you know it's got substantial Amaranthus in it, because there's a very high relief within the leaf itself. But this one is actually pretty leathery feeling, and that's how they go on this one before it starts to turn. So I think within 4 weeks, most of this plant will be completely scarlet red. Gorgeous. Pick it out from a mile away. Okay, this one is Osceola Muscat, Elmer Swenson's 8243. Yeah, we'll see. This is one that completely got chewed off, just like the others. It's taking a while to come out. This one, though, is a seedless, and this is, sorry, mosquitoes. This is Petite Jewel. Yes. Mosquito repellent's no longer working. Petite Jewel. So this is, I think, the parent of Somerset Seedless, one of the parents, I think. And Somerset Seedless, I've never had it work here. I'd like to get a couple more to try next year, now that we've got it on the terrace. But the leaves just cupped tremendously. So it's super needy of water, apparently. But this one has hardened off for us in the past a little bit. And we still have one left out of 2. So that was good. Oh, something to tell you about that Saint-Beauvoir that I mentioned a while ago. That vine is, you saw how small it is still, and it was just planted out this year, the 3rd time. That vine we got from John Marshall in 2011. So that vine is actually 14 years old. That vine is actually 14 years old. Finally got it on the terrace this year. And it's like, oh, woohoo, I can grow now. Okay, so this is another semi-seedless. It's considered seedless, although I think it's got remnant seeds in it. This is Trollhagen. Not too bad. It's a cross between Riparia and Venus. Okay, so here is the star of the show this year, or one of the stars. I have a second star. This is, let me get back here and see if I can get the whole thing in the camera. So I turn it sideways since that's what YouTube prefers. So you can see this. It is 5 feet tall and keeps going about an inch a day. So it'll definitely reach the top wire that I put in right there. I just put the wire in for fun, but I think we'll have to put the whole trellis up next year. I was afraid we were never going to need it. I think we're going to need it. It just takes a lot of water. So this one is Scusion 675. It is a cross between Alpha, which we have up there, and oh my gosh, why can't I think of it now? Pearl Saba, I think is one, and Amaranthus. Yeah, so it's got vinifera, Riparia, and Amaranthus in it, and Labrusca through Alpha. So it's a complete mix. But the nice thing is it loves cool weather, obviously, and it loves water. And you can see how big these leaves are. Now, those of you who are interested in the Fairbanks area about how big your leaves should be, this is how big they should be. Here's my hand for scale. The leaf is like 1.5 times the size of my hand. That's how big they should be. Not this size, not this size, how a lot of times mine are, but this size. And then actually, if they had more water, they'd be even bigger, but that's the size you want. So, anyway, and I think the bottom of this one, excitingly enough, is almost pencil thickness, so it could actually be preparing flower buds for next year. At least we're hoping. It does ripen. Some say it ripens late, others say it ripens early, so we'll have to see. But yeah, that one's pretty cool this year. All right, so, and then we've got two, just for kicks and giggles. Those are Solaris. I don't expect them to harden off because that vine is notorious for taking forever to harden off. So, but we'll see what happens with them. Okay, so we got some potted stuff here. I'm gonna skip over. Except for this is King of the North, and it kind of started to get going this year, maybe. And then here is Gewürztraminer. So this one is about a little over 3 feet tall and growing. But so this one is the one. So this shoot right here that I've got in my hand actually came out of last year's wood, and I cut that off because the cane from last year continued farther to another bud, and that one actually leafed out. That one budded out too. So the second bud on this one pushed. So obviously it will harden off in the fall. I will have to pull this down though, because this one needs very good sun exposure on it to make it harden off. But they will harden off to the point where they will bud out the next year. This is too small for flowers, and I'm not sure if this one would flower anyway. It might flower. That'd be pretty cool. Have Gewürztraminer at least flower. It won't ripen. It's a bit later than that, but pretty cool still to think that Gewürztraminer, a vinifera vine, will harden off and overwinter here. All right, so other than that, we've got a few. Let's see, what else do we have here to look at? Not much. I mean, it's just a bunch of them that need to be put in. I don't have samples of these out. This is our Beichun. This is 1553. This is Edelweiss back here. It hasn't been a good one for the farm so far, but we'll see if that changes. And let's see. I think that's it. This one here is our other vinifera that we're trialing. This is Müller-Thurgau, and so this is just, let's see. This one is 3 years old. Didn't get watered last year, but this year it's doing a little better. They take a little while to get established, especially in these pots. And I pulled them out of the pot they were in and put them in a new one, so that's why it's a little stunted this year. And yeah, I think that's about it. We've got a bunch of pots down here. We've got so many grapevines. I think that's it. Oh, and price. Gotta say price. Because price hardened off and budded out from last year's wood as well. Didn't have any flowers on it this year, but this is a somewhat hardy vine, 25 below in ideal conditions. But this shoot right here, which is very nice, very nicely growing. I mean, it didn't get as much water as the others did, and it needs to be in the ground. They do so much better in the ground on these terraces. And so anyway, it budded out of last year's wood, which means that if it had been a little bit bigger in diameter, there's possibility of it having flowers on it. And this one ripens in Seattle, which is a challenge for a lot of grapevines because it's relatively cool weather there. They're not as cool as ours. So, and that's a seeded grape, but it's a table grape. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm gonna sign off here, and we'll keep you informed. We'll probably do another one in August between the rains, and update you on how things are shutting down for the winter. For now.